Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Mac and Mike, your anime loving Cowboys fan. And man, it's been a tough week being a Cowboys fan. Uh, I can't even explain how tough it is. But before we get into the topic, can you like this video, drop a comment, and subscribe to the channel so I keep giving you the sports content? So, like I said, it is tough being a Cowboys fan because one, we have an owner slash GM and Jerry Jones who's basically crashing out before our eyes, threatening to fire reporters. Two, we have a coach in Mike McCarthy where, in my opinion, his running of an offense that was successful in the 90s, but right now is super predictable. It doesn't work. And then we wonder why in 2024, an offense that was geared towards being successful in the 90s doesn't work now. And three, Jerry Jones and his son Stephen Jones are just finding out in week 7 that if you don't try in free agency and force yourself to rely on the draft to try and build a team in less than a year, when those same issues that you had last year, you didn't really adjust them this year. Um, and then not only that, you have a bunch of coaches on 1 year deals. Smells like a recipe for disaster, but what do I know? I just could have told you that was coming last year, which a lot of people did. But again, it's not surprising, but at this point, it's just malpractice to continue in this direction. Even things are so bad that the media is pointing blame at Jerry Jones. But the problem in all this is that the Cowboys are in a lose lose situation. And in order for them to turn this around, they would need to have some uncomfortable conversations and do some things that you might burn some bridges, but at this point, I don't care. You guys need to prioritize winning. Anything besides that, I don't care. So, for example, these are some things that the Cowboys need to do to turn their season around. But I'll preface this by saying the likelihood of them doing anything is very low. So just remember, these are things that I think the Cowboys should do to salvage their season. But more than likely, they'll continue with the same old, because this has made Jerry a billionaire. It's made him super wealthy, and they get prime time games. And who cares about actually winning because his pockets say otherwise? But these are some things that Cowboys need to do in order to salvage their season. But again, don't have high hopes that they'll do anything, but I'm going to say them anyway. So, coming in at number 1, Mike McCarthy needs to step down as play caller. I have seen enough. And if by miraculous reasons the Cowboys can change up their play calling under Mike McCarthy and all of a sudden it can get great, tells me as a fan that you know what works. And purposely not doing that because it's not what you like to do or it's not part of your philosophy is malpractice for me as a coach and a play caller. If I see something's not that's not working and I keep calling it, that has something to say about you. Like, for example, everyone keeps showing that red zone play that Dak threw into the end zone. Obviously going to CeeDee Lamb, obviously got intercepted. They did the same exact play with Cooper Rush. All they did was flip the play. Same result. If you saw that play didn't work one time, what makes you think it's going to work a second time? And again, I go back to teams know what you like to do, and you're running the same playbook. Yes, it got you three 12 win seasons. But when you needed it the most, those play calls weren't working. So I just seeing the sample size as Mike McCarthy step down as play caller. Be humble and realize that you need a different mindset, especially if you want to continue to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Because for what I'm seeing, your mindset is on to the next coaching job, and you just don't want to make Jerry mad. So I'll just do whatever he likes. I pray that is not the case, but the way things are looking, that's what it looks like to me. Unless you wholesale just throw out your playbook and say, we need to do this, because they need to add motion, and not just motion, just to use motion. Motion to stress the defense. If I'm Mike McCarthy, I throw out my playbook. I look at what the Lions are doing. I look at what the 49ers are doing. And I look at what Minnesota's doing and just copy exactly what they're doing. Because at least it'll give you a shot to compete. Because what we're doing isn't working. You don't have a defense to the point that you're taking the ball because you already don't trust your defense. But instead of putting your offense in a position to waste time, we're just, let's take Zeke because he cried a little bit, make him the focal back, get him the most carries, and you expect to win those games? That's never going to happen. So at this point, I don't care as long as Schottenheimer does not think like McCarthy, put him as the OC. I'll take anyone at this point over Mike McCarthy because he's shown me that up to this point, you cannot be innovative. And if it takes players having to cuss at you to get you to change what you're doing, that tells me as a head coach and has it just the philosophy that you have is outdated and you don't want to conform. You're just going to do it to make people happy. And that person is Jerry Jones. But you're going to put yourself so much in a hole that you're going to have to win 7, 8, 9 games straight to salvage your season. And by then, you already have coaches saying, I'm out of here. I'm just going to cut this check and then just get up out of here. That's how the players are probably two losses away from that. What do you think the coaches are going to be? So that's number one. Number two, if Mike is not going to change his play calling and Mike isn't going to step down as head coach, then any smart head coach would be doing this right now. You need to fire your O-line coach. He got these guys looking bad. The play call can be kind of all right, but they don't look good. It's like all the false stars. It's like they're not prepared. And what's the point of having an O-line coach if he can't get his guys ready for game day? Everyone's all over the place. So get rid of the O-line coach Mike Solari. Fire the run game coordinator and the running backs coach. That in itself is kind of self-explanatory. I don't even know why he's there. Because the way the running game and the running backs look, nah. Jeff Belasco, you gotta go also. I would fire the defensive run game coordinator, Paul Gunther. We've seen how bad the run defense looks. Anybody at this point can do a better job. I get it, we don't have D tackles, but he is not getting these guys in positions to make plays. And I see certain things like the thought process of guys. That's from coaching, not giving them, take this angle. If you see this, go and do that. You're just seeing guys let me just hit this gap and see what happens. Oh, the ball just ran right by me. I'm not going to try to grab him. It's like you're not seeing. It's like, do these coaches not have the ability to tell these guys when you see something, this is how you need to react, so that when you see it, you're not caught blind. And it's like we have our DC Mike Zimmer coming out saying he was panicking. He's panicking because he's seen his guys get walked down. That's not just a play, that's a coaching thing too. And these position coaches aren't doing a good job at all. So Paul Gunther, get up out of there, man. This is definitely one I need to. I've been wanting this guy gone. Fire the pass game coordinator slash wide receivers coach. What are these guys doing? I've seen too many times guys running into each other, not running routes lazily. Are you getting on these guys when they do that? It doesn't look like it because it's been happening for a while now. Get that guy out of there. I don't have time to see this. Oh, and his name is Robert Price. I don't have time to see this from players. If you're not going to coach them hard and just, whatever they want to do, then don't coach because you're wasting people's time and making these guys look a lot worse than they really are. Do I believe someone like Tolbert could be good? Yeah. But within this scheme and the way they're doing things, man, please. You see Dak taking all this heat because at every level of the football, let me ask you this question. Can you name one position group besides the quarterback that you believe is good? Maybe the linebackers. Safeties are awful. Running backs, awful. O-line, awful. D-line, awful. But Dak's supposed to win with all that. It just doesn't make sense. Well, for the third thing that I would do, I just talked about the safeties, how they're awful. So let's see if we can trade one of them. Whether it's a Donovan Wilson, either Malik Hooker, or even both of them, I don't care at this point. 1, 2, both. Package deal. If you can give me a 2, more than likely not, but give me something. If I can somehow get some type of draft capital or upgrade, give me a wide receiver 2 or actual 1 tech, I'll do that. Because those guys being there does not help the team. They fit Dan Quinn's scheme when all you had to do is you have 1 high, 1 low, and just read where the man's going. That's all they can do at this point. They cannot cover. They cannot. I don't care what you say. They can't cover, take bad angles in the run game. And they're supposed to be that last line of defense. They can't. Those guys cannot. They do not play the position well anymore. If you want to you need to have smart guys back there that can read, react, and hit. Those guys can't do that. So I might as well use at least one or both to get you an upgrade at a position or get some draft capital because we're just wasting our time with those guys back there. Next thing I would do, number 4, sign a veteran left tackle and possibly bench Guyton. And this is not to say that Guyton isn't good. My whole thing was with the situation that the Cowboys have created, he's almost set up to fail. You take a right tackle, throw him at left tackle, and then get mad that he's not playing well. That's not his position. And then your right tackle isn't good, but you're afraid to put your right tackle on the right side to see if he can play that side because you paid Steele, and Steele isn't playing good. So you have too many holes in your offensive line. Then you have guys like Matt Walesko, who's supposed to be a left tackle, but you can't even put him in at left tackle because you don't trust that he's good. So why do you have these guys? You don't trust them. You don't think they're good. Why are they there? Go get you a left tackle or trade. Do something. Because the way things are going with that offense, like, you're going to get your quarterback, Dak Prescott, you're going to get his head taken off. For what? because you don't want to really evaluate these guys and see that maybe you were wrong. Maybe this project's not working. Oh, but it's too soon. By the time you find out, how late will it be? A year, 2, 3 from now? I'm all about, you got to do something now. With the longer we wait, the worse things get. And not only that, because the Cowboys have a knack of holding on to guys longer than they should have because they want them to be successful so bad. And in the process, you miss out on getting good replacements, better players, upgrading position. We did the same thing with Amari Cooper. The minute CD showed that that he was a little bit good, they said, "No, we don't want Amari. We don't need Amari. We got CD." But you didn't have nothing behind CD. So you're telling me instead of having two good players, I'm gonna go with one? But now because I drafted a guy, I can't even go get a better player. Because I want to prove that I knew what I was doing. That's where the Cowboys are, and that's what's hurting them. That mentality. If there's a better option available, and if it's cheap, because Jerry loves cheap, then get those guys. Stop wasting time on guys you don't trust. If you don't trust them, don't put them out there. Put someone else. I'm a firm believer that, and I hate when I hear guys say, "Oh, we didn't put this guy out because this other guy isn't good." How can you say that? We didn't think what's his name? Mike. We didn't think Micah Parsons. We thought it was just a regular linebacker. But when Tank went down, oh, we found out he was a pass rusher. Oh wow! They won't tell you Tyron Steele. Oh, not Tyron. Tyron Smith used to be a right tackle. Left tackle got hurt. Moved him over. Oh, he can play. That's what I'm talking about. You don't know what you got till you put him out there. And then when you give them an opportunity, when you put them out there, that's when you see what you got. But at this point, with how these coaches are acting, I don't trust their judgment in practice because these guys will tell you, "Oh, Zeke still got it," or they'll give Zeke the carries as if he does. But then people will say, "Oh, but Dalvin Cook is no different." I don't believe that for 1 second. And it's not to say that Dalvin Cook is so much better than Zeke, but almost anybody at running back is better than Zeke at this point. But we're giving Zeke all the love. Doesn't make sense. If there's a better option, go and get it. And that goes, and I was just talking about Zeke. So that's my fifth point. Cut Zeke. I know it'll never happen. This is just wishful thinking. But if I'm GM, they call me Jerry Jones or Mecca Jones. If I somehow get, what's it called, adopted by Jerry, they put me in at high level. Say, Mike, we need you to make the decision. I got you. I'm cutting Zeke, plain and simple. Cutting Zeke, elevating Cook, and trading for a running back. If I can get a running back out of a Donovan Wilson or Malik Hooker, I'll do it. I need somebody with some juice, somebody with some burst, somebody with some speed, somebody that can make somebody miss. There's too many running backs in the NFL that can do that. They just don't play for the Dallas Cowboys, unfortunately. We need to make drastic changes. And for the last point, and this one I was a little bit surprised that from watching the games, watching the film, I'm starting to pick up on some things. I'm feeling like this offense is so simplistic that they're forcing Dak to be a one read quarterback because, well, it's a combination of a lot of things. If the O-line's not holding up, run game's not there, you're not going to be able to get through your progression without getting annihilated out there as a quarterback. So it's like we've made the offense a one read offense as opposed to, oh, let's incorporate crossing routes, see what opens up. It's like, oh no, hitch, flat, maybe a boot. Teams know what you're doing. We need to trust that Dak can read the defense. We've seen it. We know he can read the defense. But if we're just making it so simplistic that even the next reads under duress. So if we say there's three reads, three quick reads, if by the time he gets to the third read, he's either getting hit or the guy's covered because they know exactly where you're going, he's going to take a sack or throw the ball away. That's a wasted down. Give him the control to change up the offense. But again, I don't know if the offense is put together like that to where he can make those hot reads, or is it in such a way where it kind of restricts him and puts a lot of the power in the play caller to be able to make those changes for him. Because at this point, it's not doing a good job. You're setting up your quarterback to fail. And the fact that at this point, it's not even acknowledged gives me cause for concern. Because we're going to see in that San Fran game, I can promise you that. So for me, if the Cowboys do these various things, I believe they'll be competitive for the rest of the season and possibly make the playoffs. But the chances of any of that happening are super, super low because Mike McCarthy, in my opinion, he's checked out for the season. That's what I think. And he's just doing enough for the team to not quit on him. And so he can maintain a good relationship with Jerry Jones. So he can then prepare for the next coaching job if that were to be available to him. He's giving Jerry everything he wants, even though it's failing before our eyes. And he's letting Jerry be the pseudo head coach and pseudo play caller just to appease him. And if that's truly what's happening, and like I said, I pray it isn't, but if that's what's happening, then I'm telling you, the season's already over. That's one, the season's already over. And two, Mike McCarthy needs to be fired because if you're prioritizing what the owner wants at the expense of trying to win and set your team up for success, then you're doing a disservice to your team and only care about yourself and your job. That disqualifies you from being a head coach, especially for the Cowboys. And I get it. Jerry wants a puppet. And if you know that and continue to coach, at that point, I can't keep blaming Jerry. I got to blame you for allowing it. Because at the end of the day, your reputation takes a hit, not Jerry's. We can scream and say fire Jerry, all that. That doesn't mean nothing. There's nothing gonna change from Jerry Jones being the owner of the Dallas Cowboys. $10 billion organization. He's not going anywhere. But if you as a head coach allow this to keep happening and your reputation's on the line and you're seeing it tank and you're still going with it, that's on you. I can't keep defending Mike McCarthy anymore because he's reverting to basically being a Jason Garrett 2.0. The same issues we had back with Scott Linehan is the same issues that we're seeing now on offense and defense. For me, that goes back to Jerry because he's molding coaches to fit his philosophy. When it comes to football, and his philosophy is outdated, and it doesn't work now. Jerry likes these old tenured head coaches with ties to the Cowboys, but he keeps guys so long that the option that he has to choose from are guys that can't coach in this day and age. Like, for example, look at uh, the type of things Jerry values in players. Likes pass rushers, doesn't care for defensive tackles, and just wants to see a lot of points and a lot of exciting turnovers. And that's all great. And he had all that under Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn, but we still kept losing because come playoff time, none of that mattered because we had clear holes that the other teams could exploit. And it was only a matter of time before that started happening. Because, yeah, we couldn't win most games, but when we needed those guys to come through and help us, it just didn't work. And that's Jerry's philosophy. And he was okay with it because as long as the Cowboys looked good enough and were exciting, that's all that mattered to him. For me, it's hard to watch the Cowboys because since last year, we saw the issues in the run defense, in the passing game, in the play calling, and in the player acquisition and free agency, and we did nothing to fix those issues. So, of course, why would things start working all of a sudden now? Teams have caught on. They know if you double CD Lamb, this offense is cooked. We don't have a serviceable second option based on how we call plays. The play calling is hurting our ability to put stress on defenses. And it just seems like Mike McCarthy is calling plays just to call plays. You won't win in the NFL doing that. And it makes things look worse than they really are. I can't say, oh, like I said before, we can't just put in Jalen Tolbert and say, get him more targets because we run a stupid offense. I can't say we need to give Rico more carries because we run a stupid offense. I can't say we need to keep Guyton in that left tackle because we run a stupid offense. This offense isn't designed to help players at all in the scheme. It has no innovation. And it's just like, oh, this is the next call. Let me call it. I don't care what they're doing defensively. What I'm doing offensively matters. They don't care what's going on. It's just let's call the next play. So the Cowboys have a bunch of things to fix, plain and simple. Will they come time? Will it come time to San Francisco? Will those changes come before then? I doubt it. But who knows? What I do know is if we get beat again, like it's a straight beat down, like we did against Detroit, then basically the season is going to be over. And I promise there's no way Mike McCarthy will keep his job if we go and get whooped again. If he keeps his job, then that tells me Jerry really don't care about winning because he wants his guys. He wants to win his way. Because there's no way you keep a head coach and you get whooped like that 2 games in a row. I'm sorry, Cowboys fan. It's just a bunch of doom and gloom for the Cowboys. But hey, we might at least get ready. We can get ready early for draft season. And man, I wish I had more hope to give you guys, Cowboys Nation, but I stopped trusting the Cowboys would do smart things to win because there's way too many Eagles involved. And at this point, there's no incentive to win. So we'll continue to see how this season plays out, but be prepared for the worst, but expect the best. That's the motto I live by, and I'm sticking to it. I just want to thank you guys for tuning in for another episode out of the Fanatics Forum, the podcast where you get that real sports talk from the fans' perspective. I'm your host, Mecca Mike. That's MECCHA Mike. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And I'm out.